we are splitting farther apart. And I see this over the coming months, how that split is going to increase big by the time we're shifting into the first part of 2025. So you're going to feel the separation more. And what that means is there will be people leaving your lives, or you'll be leaving theirs. That's going to start to happen a little bit more. But for those of you who love to give yourself credit for being so evolved and so spiritual and so I'm a healer and I'm a psychic and I'm a blah blah blah, and that somehow means I'm on a new earth. No, it fucking doesn't. And you need to wake up. And I hope you take me seriously when I offer that to you as a human incarnated on this planet, just because you're spiritual. Like, what does that even mean? That doesn't get you a free pass. It is your actual energetic alignment. And right there, some of you are like, oh yeah, but I'm spiritual, so I have a high energetic alignment. No, you fucking don't. Not necessarily. Welcome to Masters of Self University podcast, your highest source of sacred truths and universal wisdom. Hello, beautiful souls. I'm Rachel Fiori, mystic, spiritual teacher, psychic healer, and founder of Masters of Self University. Join our journey of soul transformation as we deep dive into this latest episode. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Masters of Self University podcast. I'm Rachel Fiori, your host for this episode. As we all know, we are going through a great, grand, global spiritual awakening on planet Earth. And the Earth is essentially splitting in two, going into two very different pathways, the old Earth and the new Earth. And here, as we are approaching the end of 2024, the last couple of months in 2024. I don't know when this will air specifically, but I am recording this early October in 2024, just to give you reference. And I wanted to talk about where we're at this year as far as the Earth, what's going on with New Earth. Early this year, I believe it was in January of 2024, I recorded a podcast and talked about 2024 kind of being a year of extremes. And boy, have we seen some extremes. The dismantling of Hollywood, the fall of Hollywood, patriarchy continues to crumble. Lots of things are coming out into people's awareness. They're becoming more and more aware of all the crazy and dark and evil, systems that try to control and enslave us. And we're seeing all of these things as a year of extremes that will continue in 2025. However, when I recorded the podcast about kind of a year of extremes, choose your vibrational frequency. This is going to be your year to really choose what earth you're going to be on, or what, parallel reality, what timeline you're actually aligning with on a vibrational level. All right. So I'm going to talk more about that right now, because I want everybody to understand something. You are not a part of a new earth or a more positive, loving reality that you get to experience as a human incarnated on this planet just because you're spiritual. Like, what does that even mean? That doesn't get you a free pass. That's not, it is your actual energetic alignment. And right there, some of you are like, oh yeah, but I'm spiritual, so I have a high energetic alignment. No, you fucking don't. Not necessarily. I just had a conversation with somebody and yesterday. So I had a session with somebody yesterday, and this person is very spiritual. They're here to help other people and to coach them and to heal them and to help them elevate and to help them heal their wounds. Meanwhile, this woman is functioning with programs of conniving, fucking manipulation, using, two-faced, very sneaky, arrogance, There's all these programs running in this person, but I'm helping other people, but I want to be here to help other people. I'm healing my wounds. Are you though? I mean, are you actually though? And to what degree? Because you got a long way to go when you're still showing up in this conniving, manipulative, backstabbing, betrayal, can't trust you, you're untrustworthy kind of way. And these are the programs that we love to mask and pretend like we don't have them by doing things like, but I'm a healer, but I'm a coach, but I'm doing this to help people. What programs are you running? What programs, how are you actually showing up in your relationships with other humans? How are you actually showing up in your relationships with other beings on this planet? How are you actually showing up versus how you like to think you are versus what your ego tells you are? When you do the deep inner work, you realize, what programs am I actually running? And I have all these control, arrogance programs, entitlement programs, self-importance programs. Meanwhile, I'm lying by omission. I'm backstabbing. I'm betraying people who have helped me and supported me. And then I'm going to turn around and whine and cry and be all upset in all of my pain and agony emotionally when other people betray me and use me and throw me out like trash. So isn't it funny that, and this person has been betrayed and used and thrown out like trash and not really cared about, but that's how she treats other people. Isn't that funny how we get trapped in that hamster wheel of being a victim of how somebody treats me? And yet, isn't that what you do? Well, I would never do that in that way, but you're doing the same exact things in a different way. It's still lying. It's still betrayal. You're still untrustworthy. You see it? You might not be somebody who cheats in your romantic relationship, but you're cheating the people that support you and have helped you, or the organization you're a part of. You're an energy vampire. You see it? So I'm using this as an example because we love to say we're here to help other people. And yet, if these are the programs you're running and you're oblivious to it, you don't want to look at it, you don't want to admit it, you don't want to see it, you don't want to own it, and you don't do the damn work to heal it so that's no longer who you are as a person, guess what earth you're going to end up on? It ain't the fucking new one. Like, I didn't write the rules. I'm here to teach you how to master them. And the example I gave you, that ain't mastering shit, other than the negative, dysfunctional, unhealthy me who's going to be real fucking surprised I end up on old earth. And all these elevated people that I see right now, I'm not going to be a part of that anymore. And I'm going to go away. And I'm going to think I'm going to, because I'm so spiritual. And 5-10 years later, I'm not going to be able to comprehend and understand why I'm fucking trapped around all these unhealthy, dysfunctional people that all they do is hurt one another. And you're like, isn't that what's happening right now? No, we are still intermixed for the most part, but that separation continues. So let's talk about that, because it is getting very critical for you to truly do the real work on yourselves so that you end up where you would like to end up. You don't get a free pass. No one gets a free pass. No one. You have to earn your place. You are earning your place in old earth where there's inequality and injustices and hate and fighting and war. You're earning that by you running the programs and carrying the traumas and the wounds that you carry. That's what you're earning, because you are a vibrational match to those things. Just because you don't want to think you're a vibrational match to those things doesn't mean you're not. Like, hello, this is why it's so important to become the way of truth, to see the truth within myself. What programs am I running? What unhealed wounds do I have? How am I showing up as an entitled, obnoxious little fucking spoiled brat that thinks I know better than someone else who's 10 times more enlightened than I am? You're going to end up on the wrong side of where you want to be. That's not some warning. That's not some threat. That's how energy works, guys. This is why everything we do, we learn to master energetics. at Masters of Self University. And that means mastering the energetics inside of myself that are flowing through that I've created, knowingly or unknowingly, that have been energetically imprinted on me, knowingly or mostly unknowingly, and all of the other types of energies that I come in contact with that have an impact and an effect on me psychologically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and even physically. That's mastering the self. It is an energetic mastering of the self. Okay. And if you really want to master that, become a student, enroll, apply, fill out the application to apply as a student, and you can enroll in our classes, and we teach you all of this stuff in our curriculum. So when you understand that you have to do the inner work to go deeper to see what programs I am actually running, that's an energetic process that I actually am creating a certain reality or certain experiences because I'm running certain programs, because I have an unhealed inner child wound. I'm trapped as a, 2.5-year-old, a 3-year-old. I'm trapped as a toddler because, this interaction with my parents when I was little. If you don't understand that that energy is trapped in there, it is going to keep showing itself and you're going to keep playing it out, period, end. But guess what? That's what, when the more Earth splits and splits and splits and becomes farther and farther apart, old Earth versus new Earth, you are aligning with that old Earth. Whether you want, it doesn't matter what the fuck you want, guys. It's not about that. It is about your vibrational frequencies. So you are going to the old, like you're splitting apart. So here's what I want you to understand. The update on us splitting. So 2024 was a big year for, these are all parallel realities. And Earth is splitting in, we call it old Earth and new Earth. There are countless parallel realities on old Earth that you will align with and experience. All those timelines there, when that's where you end up permanently. Okay. And then there's a ton of different timelines and parallel realities that you can end up experiencing on the new Earth, depending on your vibrational frequencies and the types, listen carefully, the types of vibrational frequencies that you run and that you allow to flow through you. The types of vibrational frequencies. Your emotions, your thought patterns are types of vibrational frequencies. So even though you might be a more highly conscious person, and let's say you end up on New Earth, more highly conscious person, you're more elevated, okay? You're more healed. You don't have a whole lot of trauma left in you. You're doing the work to heal whatever's left in there of old wounds or whatever. And you're elevating your level of consciousness. On a new Earth, you will still experience different parallel realities. Like you'll be in one timeline, one reality, and you won't experience what other people are experiencing based on your specific type of programs. So we can break this down and get very specific. Okay. So if you still run programs that are not of the highest level of consciousness, you could still be a high level of consciousness, but you're still learning and messing up and running of the higher levels of frequencies, you're still at the lower end. Does that make sense if I put it that way? And so your timeline and your reality and your experiences on a new Earth will still reflect that. There will be a lot of people that do make it to a new Earth that still have a tremendous amount of healing to do, but they are not projecting. They're not doing things like using other people. They're not lying. They're not manipulating. They're not running these really fucked up, dysfunctional energy vampire type programs that we have all learned from patriarchy and the old Earth. Okay. So there's a difference there. So here's the splitting. I want you to understand this full split, as many of you know, this is like a 30-year process, and which is a really fast process, even though it seems agonizingly slow a lot of the times for us, because our physical bodies have to adjust. We go through ascension symptoms. We have to physically adjust, and that's where your ascension symptoms come into place. Come into play. You have a lot of, fatigue and the exhaustion, whether it's just mental exhaustion, physical exhaustion. You can have aches and pains and all the things. I won't go into all the ascension symptoms. You know that by now. But your physical body has to catch up. And so that process can only go so fast. Okay. Now let's understand something. Right now in 2024, I've seen the biggest separation between old earth and new earth. Biggest separation. You're still seeing those who will end up on new earth reality. You'll still see everything happening on old earth, but it won't directly impact you. Okay. Flooding, this, that, it might be right there near you in the same city that you live in, but you won't be affected by it. That's just one simple example. You're still going to see everything. The overlapping is still there with old earth and new earth. Okay. But it won't directly impact you. It'll directly impact, if you're a woman, it'll impact women. If you're in a certain group of people, it'll impact that group. Maybe it'll impact people, possibly, or no one, you'll see it on social media. Like you'll see what's happening because we're still in an overlap. As we continue to separate, which will happen, there will be even more of a separation by the end of this year and going into 2025. And I think the presidential elections in the United States, boy, are we in for some chaos after this happens. I think we're in for some really chaotic times for a few months, and into 2025 after this shit show. So here's the key. As Earth continues to split, and it isn't going to be completed the end of this year, 2025. Like, understand, again, this is a slow process. This is going to take years. And where people end up, we will reach a point in time, years from now, years and years. And it's hard to even predict accurately because things are changing so much because of people's awakening and then their lack thereof. Like, there's such a contrast right now. So that shifts things a little bit. But even, a couple of decades from now, this could still be going on, sort of the fine tuning of it, so to speak. But what's going to happen at some point in the years to come, we will be so separated, you'll know nothing of the other earth. Nothing. You will see nothing of the other earth. You won't even realize you're not seeing anything. You're just going to be either in your hell, your chaos, the wars, the this, the that, the fighting, the fucking everything's violent and horrible, because that's old earth, that's patriarchy. Or you're going to evolve into oneness consciousness, which is, earth is a feminine planet. So we're coming back to what earth was supposed to be and is at its core, which is feminine. And that means we function in oneness. And as we move to that, if you are on that side of things, what's going to happen in a certain year at a certain point, you will not be able to jump timelines. So it's already this year, it's getting harder to jump timelines. Old earth versus new earth. Okay. This is why I told you earlier in the year in one of the podcast episodes to choose wisely, elevate, heal, knock your fucking shit off that's dysfunctional, heal it, elevate out of it. Enough's enough. Because it is going to be harder for you to be able to be around more highly evolved people if you're not putting the fucking pedal to the metal and just speeding your way to a more evolved self. You are literally running out of time to be able to do that. And what that means is there will be certain family members, spouses, best friends you've had for 30 years, loved ones, whatever, neighbors that you've been next to forever. And all of a sudden, they're going to be ripped out of your life. If you're not getting your ass in high gear and elevating as fast as possible, get your shit together, people. There's no judgment if you don't. Never is there shame or judgment. You're going to end up being ripped away from those you love because there's still this overlap right now, and you think you have it safe. You think you're surrounded by higher people, so you're good. That's not necessarily the case, and you're going to find that out the hard way. If you're somebody who runs a program of I have to learn the hard fucking way, that's what's going to happen. Out of nowhere, it's like your marriage will be ruined. Your best friend of 30 years will never fucking talk to you again. And that'll be your fault. Your creation. You created it because you're not getting your shit together fast enough. That is not a threat. That is not a, oh, go into panic mode now. Don't be immature and ridiculous. You should be too divinely powerful for that. It is hearing the truth and saying, oh, beautiful truth. Thank you for that truth. I now know that I better, if I haven't already, I better get my shit together and elevate faster and take it more seriously and make it more a priority, because you will lose your choice in the matter at a certain point in time. You really will. We are splitting farther apart. And I see this over the coming months, how that split, is going to increase big by the time we're shifting into the first part of 2025. So you're going to feel the separation more. And what that means is there will be people leaving your lives, or you'll be leaving theirs. That's going to start to happen a little bit more. And then again, I want you to understand, once this split is kind of quote unquote final, it will be impossible or close to impossible to ever, first of all, if you're on a new earth, you're probably never going to go back. Why the hell would you ever want to go to this shithole of a hell on earth place with all the demonic fucking evil cult bullshit everywhere, violence and rape every fucking turn, pedophilia everywhere, like that? Well, yeah, sorry. Like anybody on a new earth, it will be really hard for people on a new earth when you finally get to that place. You're so elevated and you're highly conscious enough, you would never align with any of that garbage. You won't make it to new earth if you do. But for those of you who love to give yourself credit for being, so evolved and so spiritual and so I'm a healer and I'm a psychic and I'm a blah, 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 and that somehow means I'm on a new earth. No, it fucking doesn't. And you need to wake up. And I say that, I hope you take me seriously when I offer that to you. Because why would you ever want to end up on a planet separated from all the good, positive, highly conscious people and be completely trapped with all the demonic, satanic sociopaths that are religious leaders and religion and all that fucking bullshit? Why would you ever want corrupt governments to rule you for the rest of your life while you're alive? That will not be the case on a new earth. We will choose how to govern ourselves, and we will choose the leaders that know how to teach us to be more enlightened, more powerful. Do you understand? We'll follow their lead because they're there to help heal and empower us to heal ourselves, to teach us how to do it, to teach us how to become more highly conscious. That's important and that's a priority to us. If you're listening to this and that's not a priority to you, you probably won't be listening to me, or I'll trigger the fuck out of you nonstop. But if that is a priority to you, if that is not a priority to you, then you're going to be trapped with people who treat you like shit and enslave you as quote unquote leaders. That's patriarchy for you. If you want an elevated, society of oneness, guess who the majority of the leaders in the world will be? I mean, take a wild guess. This is a really tough question to answer. It's going to be divine, elevated women. Duh. Mostly women are going to take over and be our global leaders from here forward on a new earth, not on an old earth. So there could be people listening to this right now, a decade from now, be like, oh, that Rachel didn't know what the fuck she was talking about. We still have our sociopathic rapists as leaders that want to dominate and enslave everybody. Look at all the men in charge. She didn't know what she was talking about. You're on old earth, you dumb motherfucker. Have fun with that. I don't care what you do over there. On the timeline and the vibrational frequency that I'm at, We are creating a system and a world of oneness. And that means obviously feminine energy is the one that reigns, is no such thing as 50-50. No such thing, people. Stop with your old brainwashing from patriarchy. That's not equal. That's not balance. Okay? Because masculine, this is for another podcast, but I'll say briefly, masculine energy is an acute energy. It's a very intense energy. When it is needed, it is obviously beneficial. It is wonderful, priceless, divine masculine energy when it is appropriate to use masculine energy. And the truth is, it is not appropriate to use masculine energy a ton of the time. Sure as fuck not 50% of the time. It just fucks everything up. Look at our fucking world. Hello. Don't go into your ego where you're still unhealed and now you can't hear truth and you're going to project onto me because I'm giving you the truth that you don't want to hear yet. Grow up. That's not equal. That's not what the way of equality is. The way of equality means nobody's superior or inferior, but we use the appropriate energies that are appropriate, meaning the appropriate feminine energy when it's appropriate. And then we shift into masculine when it is appropriate, when it is called for, when that energy is needed. And the truth is, when 80% or more of energy is masculine, it turns into toxic, scary, violent, out of control, unruly, dominating, fucking rapist, warlike, killer behavior. That's the truth. Look at our fucking planet. I mean, come on, look around. The proof is everywhere, right? Now, in a feminine planet, because Earth is a feminine planet, that means the majority of the energy and the majority of the way we behave is feminine. That's not effeminate. That's not what that means, guys. Get out of the sexism and the brainwashing. It doesn't mean frilly, pretty hair, makeup. That has nothing to do with what feminine energy is. It doesn't matter what you look like. That's effeminate. That's not divine feminine or sacred feminine energy. They're very fucking different. Okay? You have to know that by now. And you need to know that for the future to get a clue about this stuff. The majority of the energy that we need to function in oneness is almost always going to be feminine energy. It is wisdom. It is a bird's eye view versus tunnel vision. I can only see right in front of me because that's masculine. Again, when that energy is appropriate, get it online. You should be good at that. If you are in equilibrium, the way of equality, the higher levels of what the way of equality, this universal way of oneness means is we are in equilibrium. We function in balance. Me, myself, and I function in balance, which means anytime I need divine masculine energy, it's just an automatic thing that comes online and you use it when it's appropriate to use it. And anytime feminine energy is needed, I can shift and be in the feminine. So leadership roles, feminine energy, period, fucking end. Okay. Masculine is not leadership energy in any way, shape, or form. It can't be. All right. So when I'm in balance, this is what we do. Automatically, it's just part of what you are. Whether you are a man or a woman, that doesn't matter. That doesn't even matter. It's I'm in balance. So I show up as the energy that I need to show up as in any given moment. That's what it means to function in oneness consciousness. When you can be that elevated, it doesn't mean your personality as a man it doesn't seem manly, for example, but not toxic masculine, obviously. And none of this, I have to be so feminine and use a soft voice. That's all sexist fucking brainwashing. Get out of here. It has nothing to do with anything other than the energies that actually flow through you and understanding what divine feminine energy actually is and what divine masculine energy actually is. When you can learn that and become more in balance with those, whether you are, again, a woman or a man, doesn't matter. When you are more in balance, you are totally lining yourself up to take the path of what a new earth is. Because that's a new earth. Okay. And this fighting each other and having polar opposites all the time um, is nonsense. And that's the old earth. So I'm going to give you another example. I saw on social media recently, I think yesterday, there was a young girl on there doing her thing, tarot reading, psychic reading. She was very gifted. She was amazing. It was amazing to see a young person be that in touch. And then she said, something along the lines of, we live in a world of duality. You have good and evil inside of you. And I wanted to reach through my phone and grab her and pull her into my office and give her a fucking teaching, because right there, huge fucking mistake. Think about this. You are not innately evil. So this whole duality consciousness, which is separation consciousness, which is patriarchal consciousness, has to go. Say bye-bye. You are not innately evil. No one is innately evil. It doesn't even make sense. You have both good and evil inside of you. That's like religious fucking cult leaders brainwashing you to say you were born as a sinner. Get the fuck out of here. That's not even possible to be born a sinner. You're born with your karma. That's different. It's a whole nother teaching. You're not born a sinner. You are born as a fractal incarnation of God herself, because that's what you are. So if we all come from Source, the creator of all that is, God, whatever you want to call her, whatever's comfortable for you, the universe, which isn't totally accurate, but you can call it that if you want. She doesn't care. If we all come from that and we all are that, how could anybody be evil and good at the same time? It doesn't make sense. Stop believing the bullshit from the duality, separation, patriarchal consciousness. Stop it. Because that's not what a new earth is. We do not, in a new earth, that does not exist. Lower levels of oneness consciousness will be unity consciousness. That's where most people are going to get their bus ticket to land at a new earth and arrive on a new earth, is you've elevated to functioning in some degree of unity consciousness. Unity consciousness is not oneness consciousness. It is way lower, but it is on the pathway to becoming oneness consciousness. Okay? You are not both good and evil. It doesn't fucking exist. It is some more bullshit brainwashing. It is misteachings by people that don't know better. I don't care if you heard it from a monk in a monastery or from somebody on TikTok or where the fuck you heard it from. It isn't truth, people. It isn't. You become evil by what you choose in life. Simply put, that's it. Black and white. You become evil. It doesn't mean there's not evil on the planet. It doesn't mean there are not people who are so evil and so separated from source and so separated from their own divine soul that they are the most evil, demonic, scary motherfuckers that exist. That is real. They exist. Hello. Look around. Satanic ritualistic abuse wouldn't exist at all if that wasn't true. Okay. Men raping babies literally to death and then cutting them up and eating them. That wouldn't exist if evil didn't exist. But what's evil? Evil is the choice for a being to start to, they make the free will choice of a little bit of lying, a little bit of backstabbing. Oh, I cheated. And now that I cheated and I got away with it. It's like you start to go down a path where you become more separated, farther and farther separation, disconnection from your soul. Your soul is your connection to source. Right? That's why I started and opened this podcast with an example of somebody that I had a meeting with yesterday or the day before, whenever it was. And I gave that example because a completely different experience that person and how she's showing up with her shitty, dysfunctional, fucked up, lying, energy vampire, betrayal, manipulation, user. She's a user. She is a fucking user, and then drowns in her own victim consciousness. She's a user. Okay? Those are her programs. That's not a judgment. It's the truth. Like, speak the truth, people. You can speak the truth without judging the person. And if you cannot, don't fucking project on me like I cannot. But if you cannot see that within yourself, that judgment needs to go. We're not here to judge anybody. But just because you're not judging doesn't mean you shy away from saying what the truth is because you're so emotionally fragile and you can't handle it. Grow the fuck up. Come on. So that example of that person being such a user, unreliable, untrustworthy, betrayal, all the things, that if you put that next to an evil, sadistic, woman, baby raper, murderer who performs satanic rituals on victims, they don't look like they belong in the same category, do they? You would be like, no, that satanic shit, that's old earth, but this one, she would be in the new earth. No, she wouldn't. She's not making it to the earth. She doesn't new earth if she doesn't change her shit. This is what I'm trying to teach you. Because how do we get so far off into such extremes, which some of us like to think, oh, well, I would never chop up a baby. Maybe not today, and maybe not in this lifetime, but guess what? You are already on the path of becoming that. When you are fighting, hating, attacking other people, especially what people do on social media. When you are a user, those people are using victims to perform their satanic rituals with. They're users. They're just at such an extreme. You're too ignorant. You lack the level of consciousness. You lack the way of wisdom to see how they are fucking connected. And that is the problem with our society. It's not about you have both good and evil. See, isn't that mean you have good and evil? No, you are innately purity. You are innately unconditional love. You are innately light, the way of connection, the way of harmlessness and gentleness. You are innately these things. The truth of what you are is nothing but a divine, incredible being, the way of harmony. I'll say the way of purity again. That's innately what you are, the way of selfless service. But when you make choices to separate yourself from that, that was your choice to start to explore a different way of being, a different type of living away from God. What does it look like? What does it feel like if I don't live as the God incarnated that I am? So you're choosing those experiences, and then you're creating realities based on those experiences. You're choosing those vibrational frequencies. It is a choice. That is not the same as you're not innately evil. The worst humans and monsters of this fucking planet that exist, because there are a lot of them and they're fucking disgusting and horrific. They're horrendous. The worst of them are not innately evil. They've chosen to become because they've chosen that path. And they at some point got so far away from what they innately are that that's their experience. Those are their experiences. Those are their realities that they're choosing. Do you understand now, as Earth continues to split apart, and although we're still overlapped and we will be for a while, old Earth versus new Earth, why it is so critical to get your fucking shit together. Because if you think just because the extremes of the worst extremes that are coming to the surface and will continue to come, and there will be more horrific things coming to the surface in the future. And when they do, if you think there is nothing, oh, I'm safe because look at that, you're not. Are you lying at all to the people you're meant to love the most, you're supposed to love the most, that you say you love? Are you fucking lying at all? Are you hiding things? Are you sneaking around behind their back? If you're doing any behavior like that, that person's going to be fucking ripped away from you, and you will land on that old Earth with all those extreme psychopaths that you think you're safe from, because that's how it fucking starts. That's how you get over there, is by using people, betraying them. It doesn't matter if you don't get caught. You're fucking doing it. And if you're doing shit like that and you're using people and you're sneaking around behind someone's back who's supposed to be able to trust you, you will be ripped apart. Give it time. Something will rip you apart. You know why? You don't deserve to be with someone more elevated when that's what you're fucking doing. And the universe will handle it. It's that simple. It is never about going into fear. It's about not being so fucking arrogant and entitled to think you're safe, that you can get away with these things and still show up as this type of person. But because you're not fucking P. Diddy, you're going to end up on a new earth. Not how it works, people. It's not how it works. You need to do the work on yourself and get your ass in gear, because you're running out of time. And as each year passes and that split becomes more and more and more significant, new earth farther away from old earth, and we're not overlapping so much, literally starting in 2025 is the first year where it's going to be a lot fucking harder to jump back and forth. 2024 is your year. You better get your ass in gear. You better heal. You better make it a top fucking priority, more important than anything. Your self-healing and evolution and raising your level of consciousness should be number one. That's what 2024 was for. Over everything. Your relationships, of course, because the only way to have a healthy relationship is raise your level of consciousness and heal yourself anyway. If you're in a relationship and you want it to be there forever and you want to keep it, I don't care if it's a spouse or a lover or a friend or a family member. If you want that to be there forever, your ass needs to make your healing top priority number one, period, end. That is what will allow your relationship or give the best chance for it to last and remain. Right? And if you're not willing to do that, say goodbye to friends. Say goodbye to your partner, your spouse. Say goodbye, because at some point it's going to no longer be there. All right? 2025 is when I see the next shift in a bigger separation, a little less overlapping. And that is the first year that I see it being a lot harder to go back and forth. Like, oh, I'm fucking up. Oh, but I can just get my shit together. I can heal. I can move through this. I can process this and jump back to a new earth. That jumping back and forth, whether you realized you were doing it or not, you were in 2024. Okay. That's not going to be so easy. That's not going to be so easy. So it's kind of like, let me give you an analogy. It's kind of like you walk out of your back door into your backyard and you constantly, several times a day, just in and out. You just walking in and out the door, just open the door, walk through it, shut the door. You're playing with your dogs in the yard. You're watering your garden. You're, getting some sun. You're grounding. You're doing whatever you do in your backyard, back and forth, easy. As of 2025, that walking back and forth in and out that you don't even realize you were doing to such an extent, 2025 hits, guess what? You're going to walk out, go into the backyard, enjoy playing with your dogs, be in the sun, water the garden, and you're going to go walk back in your house and the door's going to be locked and you can't get in. And now how do you get into your house? Your keys are locked inside. You're literally locked out of your house. How are you going to get in? Well, maybe there's an open window. You might have to take a screen off. You might have to open the window. You might have to break a window to get in. Like, how are you going to get in? Maybe it's easy. You can just go with your garage door. You have a keypad and you can get in that way. And that's not that hard, but you have to walk around and go do that. Do you see my point? It's harder to get back into your house, but your house is still there and you can still get back in. Do you understand that analogy? That's 2025. So you're messing up. You're not doing the right things. You're not healing enough. It's going to be harder to jump back to the new earth timeline. It's going to start to get harder and harder. That's what 2025, one of the big takeaways to look forward to in 2025. All right. 2026, and not forget it. It's going to be so much harder in 2026 compared to 2025. Like there will be a much bigger, significant separation at that point. And it's going to be a lot harder. You can't just walk around your house and get in, even through breaking a window. It's like the windows are, smash proof. You can't. They're the kind of glass that doesn't break. You can't put bullets through them. Nothing happens. Like you cannot get in. And yet there's your house and you're trying to get in your house. Okay. And then to continue with that analogy, at some point, you'll be in your yard. You won't be able to go near your house. At some point, your house will disappear. You don't see your house. Where the hell did my house go? Do you understand? That's where we're moving into. That's what we're moving into. So, which earth will you be on? And I don't care what earth you want to be on. The one that you will end up on will reflect the amount of self-healing and work you do to raise your level of consciousness right now. And we're getting to a critical point where we're starting to run out of time for you to choose not to do what you need to do. And working on yourself a little bit isn't good enough anymore. You're going to find that out in 2025. If you're doing a little bit, it isn't good enough anymore. And it's not, again, not a judgment. Never is there a judgment. But you're going to start to see in 2025, especially later 2025, the consequences of not choosing your self evolution as a number one priority. If you're really not doing the real work on yourself, you're going to start to see the consequences of that. And I can see that starting in like summertime of 2025. All right. So just do the work on yourself. Stop attacking people online. Stop being so arrogant. Open. Listen to what people have to say in the sense of, is there truth here? Just because I don't like it doesn't mean it isn't truth. And in fact, the way of truth, that purity, is the most triggering thing to hear. It is always going to be the most triggering thing to hear when you are carrying programs, ego, wounds that are unhealed. When you are a lower level of consciousness, the thing that will trigger you more than anything else is to actually hear somebody who is powerful, who just absolutely speaks divine truth. It will trigger every fucking insecurity you have. It will trigger every program you run that is inequality, where you feel inferior in some way. You'll be intimidated. You'll be offended. And you'll run all these fucking programs. And that lets you know what earth you're going to actually be on in the future. So do the work on yourself. Earn your way to a higher vibrational frequency so that everybody together who chooses that can create and live on heaven on earth. That's what we're meant to do with this great awakening. To elevate so high that we all create heaven on earth together. It's very achievable. It's very doable. You just have to do it. And if you need help, go to mastersofselfuniversity.com. Join our university, enroll. Take our classes. We're here to help you every step of the way. That's what we do. We are a New Earth Mystery School and New Earth University. Okay, this is what we do. So I hope to see you there. Hit that like button if you enjoyed what you heard today. And if you think someone would benefit from hearing it, please share it with them. Be that gift to them. Thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.